Or you can say it this way, because of the culture that the two senior leaders have created, it is literally causing the junior leader to not want to perform. Culture directly affects and impacts performance. Culture directly affects and impacts performance. Emotional intelligence directly impacts and affects culture, which directly affects and impacts performance. Welcome to the EQ Gangster podcast, where you will learn practical tools to grow your mental and emotional health and intelligence to be the best version of yourself, both at work and at home. It is real, raw, and transformational. The journey of emotional growth isn't easy, but it's worth it. I believe in you. EQ Gangsters. Okay, I got a great episode for today. Just wrapped up with a great client and super dude. And we got into this topic on leader development when I got so many different things to share with you all. Not in this episode, but I've got to spend some time. But the episode is going to be about when do you fire somebody, or when, or it's not when you fire somebody. It's how, it's really this kind of thought. What percentage of time do leaders fire team members when they really should be developed and coached and mentored? But the leader, due to a personality conflict, low EQ, lack of leadership skills, lack of mentorship skills, lack of coaching skills, lack of self and social awareness, they just fire the team member, which is anyway. So that's the going to be the topic today. So I am thankful for ripples in water. I am thankful for the reflection that the sun and the moon has on water. I'm thankful for the flickering of leaves in trees. I'm thankful for Ranger TV, which is a fire, which I say a lot that I'm thankful for, but I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for homies. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for relationships, which I'm kind of in the process of refiguring out. Kind of, I'm still, that's a whole nother topic of kind of refiguring out relationships and like my social life, my social circle, because of the business cult that I was in, 24-year relationships that turned out to be 100% conditional, which I was not as a, but I was emotionally needy and emotionally dysfunctional. So I missed all the, I didn't realize I was very naive and very trusting. And, anyway, so there's that dynamic. And so I'm also thankful for, man, I'm thankful for SMEs, subject matter experts. Uh, I'm thankful for builders. I'm thankful for construction people. I'm thankful for engineers. I'm thankful for questions. Oh man, I'm so thankful for questions. I'm thankful for learning. I'm thankful for music and different types of music. Man, I'm thankful for God's word. So thankful for God's word. I did First Peter 1 today. So many. Oh man, dude, it's just so much great skinny in there. And I'm thankful for breath and oxygen and breathing and teeth and jujitsu. And I'm thankful for the giggles of kids, man. There's nothing like a baby laughing, like a little baby laughing. There's nothing like it. There's just nothing like it. And so that's what I'm thankful for. So this episode is the dynamic is this. The dynamic is there are a couple senior leaders that are having a tough time getting a junior leader to perform. The two senior leaders are a certain personality. They're a particular personality that is the complete opposite personality of this junior leader. Now, what's interesting is this junior leader that they're having a tough time getting to perform has been a higher performer and a longer performer than the two senior leaders. So that's an interesting, unique dynamic. The junior leader has reached the highest level of performance in this company, highest level of performance, which is a huge accomplishment, and has been performing at a high level for decades. The two senior leaders have not been in this particular field for decades, number one, haven't been doing this particular field, number two, for decades, and have never come close to the level of performance and achievement that the junior leader has. And the two senior leaders are wearing this junior leader out, literally and figuratively, wearing him out. So much so that I would almost argue that that because of how the two senior leaders are treating the junior leader, or you can say it this way, because of the culture that the two senior leaders have created, it is literally causing the junior leader to not want to perform. Culture directly affects and impacts performance. Culture directly affects and impacts performance. Emotional intelligence directly impacts and affects culture, which directly affects and impacts performance. And the two senior leaders have the same personality, which is again the opposite personality of this junior leader. And the the two senior leaders, what's important to the two senior leaders because of their personalities is very different than what's important to this junior leader who has again had the highest achievement and the longest achievement and longest experience, most amount of experience. Very different things are important to the junior leader than to the two senior leaders. And because the two senior leaders are wearing out this junior leader for something that this junior leader feels is not important based on his, you know, experience and performance, level of performance, again, it's causing a lot of tension. And so then the other dynamic is this, is that think about this. This is great. What when you have performed the best, what has your mindset been and your emotional state been? What has your mindset been? And what, in fact, this might be the topic of the episode is what mindset and emotional state leads to the highest performance? That is an excellent question. Think about that for you. What mindset and what emotional state has caused you to perform the best? And you could argue the flow state, right, is one answer. Hey, when I've been in the flow state. Okay, so that's and I would argue that that is a combination of both mindset and emotional state. So what is that for you? What does your flow state look like for you? Now, science, and I've got an actual episode from Rian Doris, I believe is his name. He's from the Flow Research Collective, which he's the CEO of that company, with the founder being Steven Kotler, who wrote a book called The Rise of Superman. Phenomenal book. And the science shows that it is a combination of tension and fun. There's got to be just enough tension slash stress. Can't be too much. Can't be not enough. It's got to be just right. If it turns into anxiety, it's too much. So it's enough of tension that, okay, it's got my blood pumping a little bit, my heart rate's up, but it doesn't go into the anxiety kind of freak out amount of stress or tension. And then it has to have an element of fun. So enough of a challenge. Can't be too challenging, can't be not challenge at all. It's got to be challenging enough. And again, it's got to have again a fun element in there. It can't be all fun and it can't be all boring. It's got to be, again, it's that sweet spot. And so how can you and so then another thing I would throw in there again is what are the emotions? What's the emotional state that that dynamic creates? Where, what's the package of the combination of emotions that would be consistent with those other dynamics? And so then this is a fire leadership thought, y'all, is number one, can we create that for ourselves as leaders? Can we create a flow state environment, an environment in which it creates the right amount of tension, with the right amount of fun, with the right package of emotional state of emotions, so that we can get into our zone, our flow state. Number one. The second question is how good, how effective are we as leaders at creating that for our team members? It's a whole nother ball game. How do you go about figuring that out? How do you go about identifying that for each of our leaders? Because I would argue that each leader is different. Each leader is different, and each leader's flow state looks a little different. And so, what do you? How can we start dialing in some of that? And I think that's higher level. That's a higher level performing team. That's a that's not your entry level team more than likely. And it takes a leader who cares to do that, who takes the time and intention and thought and creativity to do that. And I think it's a great and worthwhile thought conversation, because here's the dynamic. So now this dynamic is this, in the business world, we'll call him an NFL athlete, right? So this guy he has performed in the NFL, again, from a business standpoint, based on his performance and everything. And now he's playing, let's call it at the high school or college level, because of the oppression that he feels from his senior leadership. And so much so that either he is going to quit or they're going to fire him. And again, realize this is an NFL athlete. They're trying to get him to play like an NFL athlete again. They are having the complete opposite effect. They're decreasing, they're pushing down his performance because of their lack of self and social awareness. And yeah, and so the leader that I'm coaching is in the middle of this whole dynamic. And like, because and he's it's a interesting structure of how they're organized, but he's like, dude, how I'm directly I'm involved in the organization as well. I'm connected to both the junior leader and the senior leaders, but I'm in neither's food chain. How do I and I'm coaching this guy. And so how do I affect this? How do I impact this? And so I said very, very carefully because because the reality is all three of these personalities, the two senior leaders and the junior leader, the NFL athlete, again in business, I'm using that as an analogy, are the two most sensitive emotions of the four. I'm sorry, two of the most sensitive personalities of the four personalities. The two senior leaders and the junior leader all have the two personalities that are the most sensitive and the most emotional. And this leader that I'm working with that's connected to both of those groups has one of the least emotional personalities of the four personalities. And so I gave him some tools and kind of a process to go about handling it and addressing it with the senior leaders. Anyway, it's just, y'all, I'm telling you, emotional intelligence, directly affects real business decisions. And the bottom line, I mean, this guy, if they just understood how to coach this personality, this guy, he would be a rock star. He would kill it. He's hungry. He's awesome. He's got experience. He's played in the NFL. He won the Super Bowl in the NFL, right? In this space, in this particular industry, and they are just beating him up and beating him up and beating him up, and his performance is dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. And it's just like, wow, all because of a lack of self and social awareness and a lack of self and social management. So here's my challenge to you guys is, do you have people in your life like that? Is there anybody in your life, on your team, in your company, in your organization that is maybe not performing to standard, that may be related to your leadership style or your leadership approach or your inability to find and bring out the best in the people around you? How can you be more intentional at bringing the best out of the people around you? And in some cases, it may be them. It just may be their headspace, their da da da. But how are you doing as a leader and a coach to, again, coach that junior leader to become better, more effective, more efficient, or overcome whatever it is that they're working on or working through? How can you help them, coach them to become better, to become more effective, etc., to become more self-aware, to have some more self-management tools? So that'd be my challenge. Thank you all for letting me be a part of this journey, and thanks for sharing, subscribing for my YouTube folks. Boom! Thanks for watching on YouTube, and just super grateful for all of you, the podcast listeners, just everybody. Thank you for letting me be a part of your journey, and for you all being a part of my journey.